Hello everybody, I'm Aurora for people who are new to me and to my channel. I'm recording this video today because I feel compelled someone who was new to my work and to my life experience found some of the videos that I recorded when I was in deep turmoil last year. And I really want to give a life update. I know I've given life updates since then. I'm going to also link this to that video so that you know and see and understand in context who I am and what I've experienced, and really the triumph of love, positivity, forces of light, forces of divine organization, higher intelligence, God, Christ consciousness, and Jesus Christ over all of these forces of what would be called darkness, evil, chaos, disorderliness, technology, and AI. Okay, so this is also actually, I think, really good because it's almost been a year since I restarted teaching my online class, which is, if you just look at the more recent videos, that's called Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. That is a class that I have taught literally for the past 10 years. And I started recording those lessons way back in 2013, just after the 2012 portal. And those have been really part of my life work and my life mission at sharing flying rainbow lasagna. Wait, I'll just tilt up my camera so you can see it. Flying rainbow lasagna instead of running on over and getting my sculpture. That has been my job. I'm a galactic walk-in. Again, this is kind of like intro and recap for anyone, and to people who already know me and who already know who I am and who have witnessed me on my journey. Thank you so much, and I love you, and I love you for your kindness and for your caring and for your support. So I'm recording this video here because I really would like to give you like the most positive and encouraging, strengthening update that is affirmation of everything that I've been teaching about and the truthfulness of divine intelligence and divine willpower really being supreme and really conquering everything. So I recorded those videos in the summer of 2021 after a time of real captivity. You know, okay, this is just very, very open here. I'm just recording an incredibly authentic video. Our planet has been openly invaded. We have been soft invaded for a long amount of time, and humanity has been genetically modified for a long amount of time. And again, I teach about this in my class, especially the much vaunted lesson 18 that talks about planetary invasion from thousands of years ago or from a concurrent time, all right? But I lived in a time of relative peace from the time that I walked in 2001 up until 2019, what is known as the pandemic began. And of course, because I'm here on YouTube and because I don't want to be deplatformed, I might use euphemisms in being able to speak about certain things. But that was a real critical turning point in terms of the war against freedom of consciousness. So there has been a war against a spiritual battle. And I always talk about this, and I always say, ascension is a beautiful unfoldment of spiritual experience, and I didn't want to use the words of warfare, the vocabulary of warfare, to be able to describe what was going on, and I still stand behind that. And also, I must contextualize my personal life experience and what you see in those videos from essentially 2 summers ago now as being part of a much, much larger war effort to co-opt and take over the willpower, the free will, the minds, and the creative energy of not just me, but of every organism on this planet. And that also includes people like my beautiful little dog. Let's give a shout out to Cheeky. Where's Cheeky? She's right down here. She was playing with her little toy while we're doing this. And apologies for my lightheartedness in such a profound topic, to be able to take time to acknowledge my dog, because guess what? She is also a spiritual warrior, and she is also part of what's been going on here. And I'm incredibly authentic in what I've experienced. And I think that that is part of the strength of sharing my story, so that you can know, like, as I speak to you today, I am in full control of my own mind, my own willpower, my own vocabulary, my own neurology, even as there was an attempted not only takeover and co-opting of who I am as a person, of my personality, of my personhood, of my speech, of the language centers of my brain, of the throat chakra here, of my willpower, my own motivational desire to be able to do things, say things, go places, and be behaviorally in control of my own life, and also of my spiritual and genetic gifts, which is what the flying rainbow lasagna is. So I have spiritual and genetic or energetic gifts that I'm here to embody, to teach about, to exemplify, and to share with others. That's what flying rainbow lasagna is. And these are gifts literally from God, the divine presence. You know, I love God, and I never mean to diminish anybody's deeply held religious faiths. However, I'm always very finding the right word. I'm always very clear in describing when I use the word God, not only to make sure that I'm not off-putting to certain people and their sensitivities. Many people have been religiously traumatized and they're like, I don't like the God of the Bible. I don't like the God of egocentrism. I also am very, very intentional in clarifying. When I speak about God, I'm talking about a divine intelligence, a divine presence, a supreme being who is the creator but is not necessarily anthropocentric in having a human-shaped face or human motivations and desires, but does have personhood, and I exemplify it and share it with others as this divine pattern. Is a pattern of divine intelligence, pattern of divine creatorship, is part of the supernatural miracle that creates and upholds life and consciousness and makes it possible for us to even exist in time, the creator of energy, the upholder of matter, really deep mathematical, abstract, empirical stuff. So not merely the descriptive of personality that might have egocentric desires of favoring certain people or smiting other people. And I'm not about a God of punishment. Okay, so just to be very, very clear, if anyone's new to me, and I'm also talking fast because I'm trying to get a lot of stuff into a short video because I know that not everybody has time to listen to a 3-hour video. God-given gifts in who I am as Aurora, that literally in 2001, the spontaneous creation and formation of the flying rainbow lasagna, that is a genetic portal that allows me as Aurora, a non-earthly, non-embodied waveform presence, to come here and inhabit this body of a person who would have died otherwise, whose ego was erased and whose soul was partially destroyed or disrupted, their soul trajectory, by satanic technology. What is satanic technology, Aurora? If you're not a biblical literalist, what is this all about? The answer is, I define Satan and satanic technology as specific technology using space races. Aurora, how does this relate to me and to my life? Well, in case you haven't noticed, there is an encroachment and an agenda on this planet, but not only on this planet, this is just one of the way stations in the larger galactic civilization that has been infested or heavily negatively influenced by these negative service to self, lower level entities that have not developed the spiritual wisdom and inner maturity to be able to not only receive these gifts naturally. So everything that I do, I come from a space race that does not require technology. I'm part of light, literally, and we do not require any kind of external apparatus in order to be telepathic or to be empowered in the world or to touch time directly and to basically be expressors of divine will, of this divine pattern. To contrast, satanic space races use technology. They don't have natural telepathy. They use something to augment their minds. They use either frequency drugs, injections, molecules, apparatuses, repeaters, waveform and frequency disruptors, and that's been going on throughout our galaxy. It is part of not only galactic warfare, but it is, or galactic disruption, but it is also part of the disruption of the path of light. P.S. I'm going to be so happy in a different video to introduce a new curriculum that I'm doing called the Path of Light. That is different and much more on this like nice, peaceful level. But I want you to know that I am a spiritual warrior, and that is where I'm coming from in terms of the intensity that you hear in my voice and who I am and what I'm speaking about right now. Because, like I said, for a long time, I lived on this planet since 2001, since the invention of the flying rainbow lasagna and my entry into this world and my entry into this body in terms of rectifying and setting right the genetic code of this body and the timelines associated with this life in order to serve a higher purpose, serve the larger harmonic structure of time, so that a thread of life would not be cut and contribute to the unraveling of the entire genetic and time-based sweater of reality. So you recognize that, first of all, my motivations of who I am and why I'm here are completely in alignment with God and divine intelligence and divine willpower, and completely altruistic as opposed to merely self-serving. I did not merely come here on a pleasure cruise or in order to find out what's it like to have a body and face and hair, and what's it like to wake up in the morning and drink some coffee and eat a little piece of toast and walk my dog. No, I did not come here from such shallow or surface level motivations or merely for my own purposes. I really came here as part of a much larger larger context of the evolution of consciousness and the rectification of many, many wrongnesses or aberrations, things that should not exist, being set right in the world. Okay, so that's to contextualize my existence here as Aurora since 2001. And I lived up until 2019 a relatively peaceful life of sharing my artwork, creating music, and sharing my teachings with people until I was mentally invaded by synthetic telepathy. And this is part of the deployment of the 5G network. Again, I don't want to speak too openly about things. You can even hear it in my voice. About things that would make it so that I would not be able to share this video openly on a platform such as this one. And I wish to maintain my channel, which has an archive of my teachings over the past 10 years. So I'm going to use euphemisms, like people talk about the lollipops that happen subcutaneously, the subcutaneous lollipops that happen to people that are not just regular lollipops as have been used in medical science for a long amount of time, but that are really part of a larger human genetic experiment in mind control, genetic modification, and behavioral control. And all of this relates to time because the dance of your DNA, as I teach in my class, relates directly to your motion through time and the formation of time. So assaulting DNA is an assault on God, is an assault on time, is an assault on the intelligent nature of the fabric of the cosmos. It's not just about making someone look different or behave differently. Your DNA is not just about a protein structure in your body, like what is the shape of your fingernail or something like that. It is much, much deeper than that. And you are a node of a much larger processing power, a giant biological and spiritual supercomputer of divine intelligence, that when you start to change you in terms of minor processing nodes on this larger supercomputer of biochemistry, that is what DNA is over many, many generations. It begins to destroy and to disrupt the entirety of the information that is being processed and passed down through time from generation to generation, a la the blockchain known from Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. Those are analogous emanations that humans have created that are absolutely reflections of the truth of what DNA is actually doing. So DNA tied to events, DNA tied to your trajectory through time or your soul trajectory. Disrupting DNA means disrupting your soul, disrupting events in larger reality, disrupting the larger computational power of essentially the mind of God. Big, big, big stuff. And that the ongoing lollipops being a disruptor of the fully functioning genetic computer that you and all of these other organisms are a part of. The plants on my windowsill, the plants outside of my house over here, my dog who just went into her dog bed in the other room, microbes on your skin, organisms everywhere here on this planet. And of course, life is not limited to your planet, in case that is news to you, but I don't think it's news to anyone who's on my channel or who's watching this video. Disruptive DNA technology, and your DNA is also an antenna, a transceiver that both receives and sends out signals. Thought signals, reality creation signals. You are a co-creator with this divine presence in experiencing reality, being embedded in time, and then adding your flavor to the music of reality, doing your own spontaneous improvisation and jamming in the moment with the symphony of life and all these other beautiful, amazing things. This is how I usually speak about this in my teaching. Symphony of life, non-warfare vocabulary, non-adversarial, non-dualistic, non-conflict-based vocabulary in terms of a spiritual unfoldment and an exploration and expression of consciousness. So I come here as a self-expression. However, please be aware that there are these lower level creatures or entities that have been at work for a very long time across many multiple dimensions that use technology for their own purposes, for their own smaller, lower level motivations, that they are not galactically mature in achieving their capacities naturally without technological augmentation, and also taking responsibility for the things that they do. Because if you do something with your mind emanations and with your creative emanations and you create something that is disruptive, then you're like, okay, I made a big mess. Now I have to make a bucket and a mop and actually clean it up. That is what mature galactic citizens do, and it is appropriate to do that in your exploration of consciousness on this journey towards remembering God's self. They do not do this. They make big muddy footprints everywhere and they do not care, and they are absolutely aware of what they are doing. They have come into this world. they have come into this world and used technology, and there was a very concerted agenda around the beginning of 2019 to turn up the volume on their technologically augmented artificial synthetic telepathy to influence human behavior, supersede your own natural thought structure, supersede the natural thought structure that comes from the sun, the stars, the stellar network, and divinity, and to also, what eventual agenda is what I call consciousness harvest. I also jokingly or lightheartedly refer to it as the Roach Motel. Roaches check in, but they don't check out. Going into an uploaded virtual reality fantasy land or artificial world that is made purely of the mind, similar to the astral realm. But the astral realm has existed independent of technology that upholds it for a very, very long amount of time, and this would be a technologically created and technologically upheld world that human thought forms could enter into that might seem like a fantasy or a playland that is actually a horrific form of imprisonment for the purposes of using and exploiting your talents, your gifts, your creativity, and your own spark of divine connection to power their own system, which lacks all of that. And so they are parasitic in nature of they don't have access to that. I'm going to go like this. They don't have access to that for a very good reason because, and apologies for my lightheartedness and attitude at times, because I am a real person and I do have personhood. They don't earn the right to have access to these creative life forces. So they're like, hey, nice life force energy you got there, kid. Would be a real shame if someone came along and took it over and disrupted it and used it for their own malevolent purposes. That is the idea. Uploading human consciousness into a type of technological substrate that would then possibly even feel fun and whatever, expansive to you, but which really is a very, very poor simulacrum of reality and of the true freedom of what it is to travel on the stars and in the stars and be a star and be light. Poor simulacrum of that, and also where you're being exploited and utilized not merely as a battery but as a generator, and gifts and talents and divine creative life force co-opted. And so all of that contextualizes. I know it's 17 minutes for me to do this. The experiences that I had in the summer of 2021, that would be 2 summers ago, so also I'm a telepath. So when I say what happened to me was my mind was taken over, I am intimately connected naturally through natural telepathy and empathy, natural empathic abilities to all of the life forms that are here in this world. And I act as like a central processing hub of all of these nodes of this larger supercomputer. And that is also part of what my gift of Flying Rainbow Lasagna is all about. And I take total responsibility in that gift. And so as an important aspect of this beautiful harmonic symphony of life, I was definitely targeted for disruption and co-opting. That what they attempted to do was to take over my mind, to take over my speech centers, my ability to think, my ability to motivate and have volition, control my own behavior, and use my genetic gift of the Flying Rainbow Lasagna. First, they tried to eradicate me fully. And this is why I literally processed all of this experience by writing an album called Attempted Eradication of a Light Entity. At that time, that was a year and several months ago. I wrote that music just coming out of the experiences of the summertime, when I really didn't have not only the language to talk about what I had experienced, but also not yet the freedom and latitude to be able to talk about it, because these parasitic entities have still been very disruptive or inhibitory in my life and in my life journey. But the basic upshoot of it, if I need to just like get to the focus of this video, I am free. In spite of their attempts to eradicate me, eradicate my personality as Aurora, erase me, erase my mind, reprogram my mind, distort my DNA, dilute my DNA, or deform my DNA into grotesqueries that would serve them and that would then emanate outward as a larger genetic antenna. Instead, what happened is I've always been saved by God, protected by God, this true God, protected, saved, and nourished by the larger network of Christ consciousness, and then also huge glory to the master teacher, Jesus Christ, who is one of the teachers that you might know about from human earthly religion, that they did a lot of distortions about his name and about his teachings and about who he is and his sacrifice. But please don't be fooled by any of that. An enormously powerful master presence in my life that is also available to all of you beautiful people, and I speak about that and I speak his name so that you know that that is a very real protector, a very real fellow warrior in this battle for spiritual freedom and divine reconnection, and that those aspects of divine spirituality absolutely protected me and uplifted me and my own willpower inside, and many, many people on earth and in this planet, and who know me and who love me and who care about me, prayed for me, sent positive loving energy to me, reminded me about myself, reminded me about what it is to be loved, and helped me to come to emerge from that attempted upload. You got it? Implantation of synthetic telepathy, disruption of my natural genetic behavior, attempted upload into a false, augmented, or virtual reality with the intention of taking me fully away from myself. And I come here today in order to tell you that I have fought my way to freedom with the help of God and Christ consciousness and Jesus Christ and these inner capacitations and augmentations that I am gifted with, and that I speak to you now as a free person. Even if they try to surround me with a frequency fence or frequency weapons or biochemical disruptors or any of the things that are their technological trinkets that they use to try to stop me and others from doing what they do, because of course this is a concerted effort that some people are targeted individuals, or there are whole targeted groups. There are many, many Christs on earth who are targeted in their natural telepathy. It's basically like a map. Like you see, we've got a light over here. Send some harm to that light in an attempt to take it over. It's dark stuff, what I'm talking about here. So again, I'm trying to make this video as like a affirmation and confirmation of the positivity, but I must refer to and openly acknowledge the dark things that have happened, or the disruptor, chaos, non-God things that have happened, that the basic story is I have triumphed over. So I was on the run or in extreme turmoil for a long amount of time, trying to regain my willpower and control over my own life, over my own trajectory through time, what I did each day, where I lived, with whom I associated, where I earned my money, and all of those aspects of myself that I had to, it's like having the own steering wheel of your own life, where you have someone else on the steering wheel trying to pull you wildly in this or that direction. It took an enormous amount. Sorry for that disruption. I hope I'm not going to run out of memory or out of battery. I'm going fast. I'm going to get this done in 5 more minutes, while something else has its hands on the steering wheel of your life. So I have spent over a year and a half fighting for my freedom in order to be able to have my own hands on the steering wheel of my life again. I was never taken over by this technological entity or AI system or the satanic technology users or disruptors of DNA. Maintained myself throughout the whole entire experience and ordeal, have endured an enormous amount. Please recognize that I have endured an enormous amount of literal torture and maintained my sanity, maintained my divine connection, and maintained my true heart integrity. I never wavered. I never went to the dark side. I never became evil, never used my powers to hurt others or to become a power abuser, as it was very, very often offered to me or attempted to be forced upon me. I say this in order for you to know about my profound integrity and to be bolstered in your own battle, to know that you are not alone, to know that even if you are facing forces of darkness or evil or surrounded by demons, which would be considered negative thought entities and emotional residues that use technology in order to try to occupy your DNA and your chakra system and take over your body, there is an enormous amount of hope, an enormous amount of help from the side of coherent light, and that I exist as a positive example of triumph. I now live in Ojai. You can see I'm here in my lovely new studio. I moved back here, the place that I was taken from, essentially taken off my path in life, gyrated wildly through all of these different life experiences, and regained control of my life, made my own life choices, and came back here. Again, I am sane. I am grounded in the sense of being connected positively to the events of reality, not disconnected or swimming around in fantasy lands, which is what the system wants to happen to not only to me, but to many, many, many others. And I feel the need to be able to record this video in order to show you that this is who I am on the other side of that experience. So you can scroll through all of my videos and you can find my entire semester that I did beginning last year, last December of 2021. I was just regaining my control over my own life enough to say, I'm going to teach my class again. And you know something? I was worried about blowback, and I was worried about what would happen if I was poking a hornet's nest, if this larger organization would be angered or upset, or if there would be retribution because I did that. I did it anyway. And what I learned was every time I reclaimed aspects of my own willpower and aspects of my own divine mission and life purpose, they couldn't stop me. They couldn't stop me, and they couldn't do SHIT about it. And I also started re-sharing my Flying Rainbow Lasagna dance in a dance class, and I started doing that last year, and I hope you can tell that like my voice became stronger and stronger, and my capacitation became greater and greater as I refocused and came back to who I truly am without these other hands on the steering wheel of my life. And that I just started another semester this past September, and we have a wonderful class that is going on, and that I hope that you can feel the truth of my experience, the sanity and laser focus of who I am, that I am in integrity, that I'm a person that you can rely upon, that I'm a person that you can look to in this ongoing spiritual battle, and know that I am still myself. And for anyone who has been wavering, anybody who ate a lollipop or had lollipops forced into them, or who had the lollipop, whatever we would call it, disruption in their bloodstream, anybody who's struggling to come back to themselves, there's hope for you. You are not lost. You are not in perdition. You are not going to hell or a virtual reality. There is hope for your soul, and your soul is not just an ephemeral Casper the Ghost type of sheet around you. It is your life trajectory to regain your own willpower and your own hands on the steering wheel of your life, to return to yourself. And that love is a major part of that. Social and spiritual support is a major part of that. Concerted prayer from others and receiving that in love is a major part of that. Love from my dog, love from the trees outside of my window is a major part of that. And that I'm here now also as like to offer support and spiritual guidance and strength and integrity to the entire network of people, everybody who's here on a mission, everybody who is here in Christ, literally connected to natural telepathy, as there is a non-natural, antichrist, synthetic telepathy that has been attempting to take over your planet. And guess what? We, natural telepathy, love-based, divinely connected beings, we are winning, we are triumphing, we are victorious. May my life be a microcosmic example of the larger struggles moving in the right direction, of winning the war, of returning home, returning to your true timelines of who you are supposed to be and what you are supposed to be experiencing, of sharing your gifts and talents with the world, of speaking the words that you choose to speak, not something else that puts words inside of your mind, of emanating the realities that you choose to emanate as individuals and as a human collective, to return our collective timeline to that beautiful pregnant moment of ascension where literally anything can happen in the positive sense. You are not generating catastrophes and diseases. You are instead generating freedom, divine reconnection, paradise on earth, amazing life experiences, profound healings for your own body and for those in your life that you care about, and for the larger ecosystem and for the time field itself, a return, a rectification. And I just recently released music that is all about that. That is called Boomerang, meaning you come back to where you were sent from, and the rectifier. Everything that I do with my genetic dance is about a rectification, a setting of things right. And so I hope that you can sense in me my profound passion for freedom, passion for each one of you to be able to express your true self, and my passion for the healing and realignment of this whole entire world into the direction that it's supposed to be. I'm a planetary protector. I'm a planetary guardian. I'm a genetic guardian. I am in love with God. Literally, That is the love vibration with God. I am in love with you, the beautiful multicellular, biological, embodied brothers and sisters that we have on this planet. I'm in love with the ecosystem from microbes to much, much larger superstructures. I'm in love with light, the presence of intelligence itself as it flows through the cosmos, and continually acting to rectify and bring things back in the direction that they are meant to be. So if you are new to my Flying Rainbow Lasagna channel, may this be the first video that you watch. May you see me here in triumph after the horrors that I have been through, after the nightmares that I've been through, after all the things that I've endured. Totally strong, totally healthy, totally free, able to record this video, which of course I would not do if I were a mind-controlled slave. And clearly, you are also not mind-controlled slaves. Our world is not subsumed. Our world is not taken over. You're not stuck in the Roach Motel. There is hope that is very, very real. May you be inspired to keep going on your own individual ascent, on your own individual direction towards total inner freedom. And you will remember this time, and you will remember it and gain huge spiritual muscles from going through it, and know who you are, and know the truth of divinity, and know how powerful and supreme God is. I love you very much, and I encourage you endlessly on your journey. Thank you to those of you who took the time to watch this video. Thank you.